Corvo Attano, the man behind that oh so iconic mask, which adorns every cover of every copy of the beloved stealth action title Dishonored. Over the course of this video, I'll do my best to tell you everything there is to know about our pretty boy protagonist. Corvo is a character primarily known for his role as royal protector to Empress Jessamine Coldwin, as well as his later exploits as a fearsome assassin and somewhat talented magician. Years before becoming accustomed to the grand halls and extravagant parties of Dunwall Tower, Corvo was born into a lower class family in what's now known as the Dust District, previously called the Batista Mining District of Karnaca, the capital city of the island Serkonos, with his father earning a humble living working in a lumber mill, while his mother would stay at home and tend to Corvo and his sister. His young life, while not glamorous, was a stable and loving environment, until one day, everything changed when his father died in a workplace accident, leaving his mother grief-stricken, unable to work or properly support her children, forcing the two young kids out onto the street to fend for themselves. During his time on the streets, Corvo displayed exceptional fighting skills. His talents led him to enter the prestigious Blade Verbenna Sword Duel Festival at the young age of 16, and against all odds, managed to prevail and ultimately win the competition, earning him a great deal of renown, as well as a position as a junior officer ranking in the Grand Serkonan Guard. For 2 years, Corvo served in the Eastern Island chain of Serkonos, fighting against various organised crime groups, including rogue city-states and pirate bands. Corvo's skill and reputation caught the attention of the Duke of Serkonos, who sent him as a diplomatic gift to Emperor Yuhorn Coldwin in the capital city of Dunwall. Upon his arrival, Corvo was appointed as the royal protector to the Empress's daughter, Jessamine Coldwin. This quickly elevated his position within the court and bestowed upon him the responsibilities of being her personal bodyguard, courier, and spy. During their time together, a secret romantic relationship flourished, which eventually led to the birth of their daughter, Emily. While the identity of the child's father was never publicly stated, rumours and hushed truths were uttered so frequently that it was essentially an open secret as to whom the child belonged. One day, tragedy struck Dunwall when a mysterious rat plague broke out into the city. Corvo was sent away on a diplomatic mission to ask the neighbouring isles for aid in dealing with the outbreak. After several months, he returns to Dunwall with the news that the other nations are unwilling to lend aid, as well as their plans to barricade the capital city until the plague is under control, which is where we step into the shoes of our protagonist for the first time. After returning to the tower and playing a quick game of hide and seek with his daughter, Corvo delivers the news to his empress before spotting shady figures moving across the rooftops. Corvo does everything in his power to fight off the assassins, but despite his extensive experience and incredible swordsmanship skills, he was ultimately overpowered when he is suspended by a mysterious green force controlled by one of his assailants. Jessamine was assassinated, and Corvo found himself falsely accused of the crime by Lord Regent Hiram Burrows, who seized the opportunity, stripping Corvo of his title and having him imprisoned in Coldridge Prison, where he awaited execution for 6 long months. It was during this time that the Loyalist Conspiracy, a group of influential individuals claiming to be loyal to the crown, helped Corvo escape his cell by bribing an officer to smuggle the key and leave a weapon on a nearby table. It's from here that the events may differ slightly from that of your own playthrough. However, these are the canonical events as detailed in various official sources of Dishonored lore, including books, graphic novels, follow-up games, and statements made directly by the creators on various social media platforms. Following the Empress's assassination and Corvo's incarceration, his mindset is fairly straightforward. He aims to emulate the late Empress in his pursuit for justice, considering all individuals, be they weepers, bandits or guards, as her people. His duty is to safeguard their well-being while refraining from harming the innocent or those unrelated to his framing. Nevertheless, he does not hesitate to eliminate those who have wronged him. While vengeance is very much at the forefront of his mind, he reserves it for those more deserving of his wrath. Corvo also cares deeply for his daughter Emily, and would go to great lengths to ensure her safety. occasionally stretching the bounds of his morality to do so. Corvo's objective is to stealthily navigate the prison section, avoiding detection, mainly incapacitating guards rather than killing them, destroying the door, diving into the river below, and escaping into the nearby sewer system, where he finds a note leading him to a case of weaponry intended to assist in his escape. It's here that we first see the iconic weapons carried by Corvo throughout the entire course of the game, though not put to too much use yet, outside of a sleep dart or two. Progressing through the sewer, we're eventually greeted by a ray of sunshine, Samuel, my homie Samuel. After politely introducing himself as a friend, he asked if you're ready to leave. But wait, not quite yet, my friend. Okay, now we can go. Where do we go exactly? The Hound Pit Pub. The Hound's Pit Pub is the Loyalist base of operations, which acts as an introduction to their cause, as well as a place of rest and refuge for Corvo between missions. This covert hideout, located in an abandoned distillery, offers a temporary break from the dangers faced out in the city. As Corvo first steps foot into the pub, they encounter several key characters, such as Havelock and Pendleton, who then point you in the direction of Piero. Piero's workshop is where Corvo can get any upgrades for his weapon and gear that he might need. It's also where he first gets the mask which would stay with him for the foreseeable future, and go on to strike fear into the hearts of so many. Now, if you're a complete and utter fucking loser like myself, and if you've made it this far into this absolute drivel, then I think it's pretty safe to assume that you are, you may be wondering, what exact upgrades did Corvo get during the first game? Well, we know for a fact that he immediately got his mask optics and his custom pistol crafted by Piero. And that's it. My man's a minimalist. We know that he didn't go for any other upgrades, none for the crossbow, pistol, or sword, and we know this because of the specific equipment that's carried in the second game. After purchasing his pistol and having his mask fitted, Corvo retires to his room for the night. When he wakes, he's still in the same bed. However, something about his surroundings have morphed and altered in an otherworldly way. Opening the door, he sees that wherever this is, it's not the pub anymore. In fact, we don't seem to be anywhere in particular. This place is empty, a void, filled only with the displaced fragments of a world once known to Corvo. After going outside and up the stairs, Corvo's greeted by a mysterious figure who introduces himself as the Outsider. The Outsider grants the ability of Blink and the Heart, which will lead you to various runes then used to acquire more abilities. Now, which powers did Corvo actually have according to the official canon? Corvo has access to Dark Vision, Devouring Swarm, Possession, Wind Blast, and Blink. Blink can also be seen being used in the opening cutscene of Dishonored 2, where he also demonstrates his ability to bend time. After retrieving his first rune, Corvo wakes up back in the Hound's Pit Pub, now brandished with the mark of the Outsider, along with all the abilities that it brings. Corvo's taken to the Distillery District, where he has his first interaction with Granny Rags, non-lethally dealing with the thugs outside her home. He accepts the rune as a gift, but refuses to poison Slackjaw's elixir. Passing through Bottle Street, Corvo chooses to rescue the shopkeeper in the alley. Upon reaching the Overseer's shrine, he frees Martin and listens to two Overseers discussing the Heretic's brand, which he plans to use against the High Overseer. In the office where the High Overseer is to be poisoned, Corvo spills both glasses, then follows the two men into a secret room, incapacitates the High Overseer, and saves the captain's life. The captain escapes unharmed, while the High Overseer is branded. Corvo witnesses a young couple being harassed by Overseers. Prioritizing the safety of the innocent, he incapacitates the Overseers, and is given a code to the safe. He loots the safe undetected, and reunites with Samuel at the docks. The next day, Corvo accompanies Samuel back to the Distillery District's shore. He strikes a deal with Slackjaw, helping him in exchange for rooftop access to the Golden Cat. He chooses not to torture the individual for information, instead preferring to eliminate the two guilty parties directly. On the way to the Golden Cat, he saves a civilian from thugs in the alley. However, the details of this rescue have become unclear since Corvo starts to behave more aggressively as he approaches the Golden Cat. His primary focus is finding Emily, and he eliminates any guards impeding his path. Corvo quickly finds Emily's door, gains entry, and sees to her safe escape. Once Emily is out of harm's way, he proceeds to hunt down the two Pendleton brothers, taking their lives. Despite his revenge-fueled frenzy, Corvo never harmed any innocent bystanders, leaving all the working girls and customers of the Cat to go about their business. Upon returning to the Hound Pit's pub, before being able to rest or spend any time with his daughter, Corvo is tasked with rescuing Anton Sokolov, the royal physician. He rescues the people trapped behind the wall of light, and Anton's test subject in the greenhouse. He chooses to confront Sokolov directly, using a sleep dart to incapacitate him, and delivers his unconscious body to Samuel, where he's then taken back to the Hound's Pit pub for interrogation. The royalists offer two options: scare tactics or a bribe. Corvo finds the scare tactics a tad excessive, and instead decides to purchase a bribe from Piero. Looking for the inventor, he's not in his workshop. Upon searching the area, he can be found peeping through the keyhole of the bathroom. Corvo expresses his disdain for spying on their own people, purchases the drink, and uses it to gain information from Sokolov. With the successful bribe, Corvo gets ready to embark on the mission to the Boyle estate. Before leaving for Lady Boyle's party, Corvo speaks to Trevor Pendleton, who gives him an invitation in order to gain access, in return for a favour. He upholds Trevor's honour by dueling and eliminating Lord Shaw. Corvo also avoids signing his name on the guest list to maintain secrecy of his identity as the masked felon. During the Boyle's party, Corvo decides against killing Lady Boyle or any others inside the manor, considering them citizens of Dunwall, instead deciding on the questionably darker option, knocking her out and taking her to a strange man in a fox mask, who's waiting on a boat in the cellar. What happens to her after this isn't certain, but I don't quite think it will be a happily ever after. Corvo then returns to Sam and back home to rest. In the Dunwall Tower mission, Corvo enters the tower undetected and incapacitates the guards. He confronts the Lord Regent over the intercom, revealing his identity. Aware of the guards' overwhelming numbers, Corvo evades direct confrontation and opts to access the broadcast tower via one of the upstairs doors. Corvo chooses to spare the propaganda spreader and follows his advice to expose the Lord Regent's crimes by playing an audio note throughout Dunwall. He takes further action by shooting a guard with a sleep dart, preventing the arrest of the Lord Regent, where he then seeks refuge in the Lord Torturer's room. Corvo pursues and eliminates both the Royal Torturer and the Lord Regent. Upon returning to the Hound's Pit pub, Corvo experiences betrayal from the Loyalists, who intended to poison him. Samuel saves him by limiting the amount of poison administered. After a series of events, with Corvo passing in and out of consciousness as he floats through the flooded district, and straight into the hands of Jessamine's killer. Fueled by anger and the presence of the man responsible for the Empress's murder, Corvo fights his way through the flooded district, eliminating any assassins he encounters. He eventually recovers his gear and confronts Dowd, but hesitates to kill him upon seeing the statue of the late Empress. Recognising the lives he's taken, Corvo retrieves the key and returns to the Hound's Pit pub. After navigating past tallboys and guards, Corvo returns to the pub, discovering a massacre, but focusing on finding Emily, he stealthily incapacitates the guards obstructing his path and assists Anton Sokolov and Piero Joplin in completing the Arc pylon. He ensures the pylon only stuns the guard. Signalling Samuel for extraction, Corvo prepares for his final objective, rescuing Emily and eliminating Havelock. In the concluding mission The Lighthouse, Corvo bids farewell to Samuel and swiftly proceeds through Kingsbarrow Fort. Upon reaching the lighthouse, he confronts Havelock, who's poisoned the other Loyalists. A heated battle ensues, with Corvo coming out on top thanks to his supernatural abilities. With Emily safe back in the rightful place atop the throne, Corvo continues serving as the royal protector, looking out for his daughter and training her ready for the day when he can no longer serve as her guardian, though that's a tale for another day. I hope you enjoyed this brief recap on the life and actions of Corvo Attano. If you managed to make it all the way to the end, thanks King. Kisses for you. If you enjoyed the video, let me know which character you'd like to see covered next. Please feel free to check out some of my other videos on screen now. And like, comment, subscribe and all that. Ta for now.